All right, turn on OBS because no editing, and I do these like I'm live. If I mess up, I mess up. I just keep going. If I have to look up things, I try to be quick about it. I hope you guys just watch through them because they're fun. I have been getting a little more views than normal, but that's great. Fun. I just like to talk. That's it. I like to talk to people. And what we're going to be talking about today is I went back to the entertainment district. They have a lot of anime on their channel. I don't do anime. I'm sorry, guys. My only thing I know is more what my son watches. He informs me, has me watch some stuff, and my younger brother is in a lot. But I can't claim that. Oh, I know, I'm diehard for it. I'm diehard for comic book stuff. It's just not anime as much. But they cover a lot of anime. So if you like anime, Entertainment District, they have a lot of cool stuff about anime. But they brought up some things that I would like to talk about, and it's about TV shows. And the first one they're going to talk about is She-Hulk getting canceled.
She-Hulk will no longer be part of the MCU and will not have a season 2.
This is terrible. I don't like that.
It's fact, but I don't like it.
It's fact. Was I rooting for her? You've introduced her.
So?
And she plays a factor in Marvel.
Not no more.
That's whack.
I will
because that's whack.
More details to that story. She is stepping away from the role, not them pushing her out.
Recast.
Yeah. I agree.
So far as of right now, today is 6/2/2026. I've looked in a lot of this stuff, looked up a lot of this stuff. I know before that even that Tatiana Ali, I believe that's her name, can't remember. Love her. She's amazing actress. She's in Orphan Black was her big break. Really good actress. She played so many different characters of herself in Orphan Black. I was so happy for her being She-Hulk. I was like, man. Marvel's really reaching out to like get good stars. Like when they got Benedict for Doctor Strange, I mean Benedict was mainly known as Sherlock, and like just pulling these people that are just really good at their craft and take them outside into the superhero world. I was so impressed. But yeah, with She-Hulk, it's never been canceled. It has not been canceled. We're gonna go over a little bit of movies and TV shows, or I say more TV shows that are assumed canceled or could have been canceled. But I'll go up first and say She-Hulk was not. And you have to always remember that there was a big part in She-Hulk, 2 big parts, 3 big parts, who knows how many. We had Daredevil come into it. Daredevil connected. Didn't really ruin his connection to his shows. He still was there. He's from the MCU, basically, Netflix. And he was there. So that's one thing. Wong comes into it, again, from MCU, and gets Abomination, again, from MCU, and brings him over to Shang-Chi, again. We get to see that. So it's all connected in a way. They can't really hide it, sweep it under the rug. It's there. And if they get rid of it, they are taking a little bit away from it. Will those things ruin the story? I don't think so. We do see how Hulk fixes his arm, which is cool. I mean, Ruffalo being in the TV show was just great anyways. They don't go on too much about his arm after that, because I don't know if Hulk, the only next thing he'll appear in, I think it's Spider-Man since then. Then we have Scar. Him showing up with his son at the end. That got like thrown out the window. I don't know if they're ever going to touch on that. I want water right now, so I'm talking so much. They dropped the ball with Scar. I don't know what they plan to do. I don't think they're ever going to do anything with it. There's been rumors that they're going to connect a lot of the younger Avengers in Doomsday Battle War. I don't think they will at all. Secret Wars or any of that. Too much new things to introduce, and we're introducing Doom and its Doom story with so many people already in it, and that's what it's going to be. But yeah, they dropped the ball with Scar. I'll let them talk a little bit longer so I get a little sip, and we'll close that one out.
Feel like, but the thing is, I liked her as a character. Me personally, I liked her as a character. I felt like there could have been a little twist to make it a little better, but it wasn't terrible to me.
Could the show have been better? Yes.
Yeah.
Could she have looked better as She-Hulk? Yes. Is She-Hulk a bad character?
No.
No.
But
why not bring her back?
I say if you have an issue with the actress, which they had issues with Daredevil and all that stuff, recast her.
I agree.
You could rewrite her better.
Okay, I don't think it was a bad show. I'm like one of the crazy few that did it. I did not think it was a bad show. It was just it wasn't people's cup of tea. It's a different type of vibe. If you read She-Hulk, again, I hate to be a gatekeeper. If you read She-Hulk, it's very much like the show. A lot like the show. They played her great. The CGI did seem off, but I think it was the best they can do with having such a short actress get stretched out to be She-Hulk. It is odd to me that she goes back and forth, I believe, as She-Hulk. I can't remember how many times, but She-Hulk is just She-Hulk normally. So you thought they were going to cast a woman of decent stature and that could act, but I think they figured, oh, well, we'll just go with this, get a better actress. I don't think she has beef with Marvel. I think she has more beef with like the internet hating her so much. She's talked about it. She's aware of it, that everyone hates her. I think that's not fair. This was all Marvel's doing. They have lined these up. They've lined up the whole MCU movie timeline. I think it's bad that they didn't set up the shows the right way and figure out which ways to drop them in. I put it all on their shoulders. That's their fault. I wouldn't blame any of the actors, the directors of these shows, the writers. Some of the writers, I guess, because they needed to touch base with them. But who knows? They might have kept them in the dark and said, yeah, we can't connect you with that. Like, these should have entangled more into the storyline. And we get that with a lot of other shows, and I'll get into those as well. But basically, what they're saying is it's canceled. It's not canceled. She still remains. All those stories still, in fact, do exist. We still have Scar. Wong was still there, and all these different things. We do have a Titania now. We do have, you know, what's it? The Matador, isn't it? We do have these characters. I thought it was good. I think it was like the most amazing TV show ever. But this other show I like more, but I do like the way they did She-Hulk. I will not bitch about that at all. I think it was fine. It was good for a cool little Marvel series. It gives me the feel of Wonder Man. Wonder Man's a lot different, but how they did it into their own little thing of how they perceive the character should be. And a lot of people just have trouble squeezing it in and believing it's the MCU. And I think that's the problem with She-Hulk. They can't see this She-Hulk standing next to Captain America and all them in like a serious conversation. I get it. It does look different, but they did what they did. But yeah, the next one, I don't know what they're going to do, but they're going to talk about Ironheart.
Marvel Television is planning to remove Ironheart series from Disney+. The show is considered to be the most hated and financial disaster in the history of MCU.
Smash on the first part, pass on the second part.
Smash.
Because it's not the worst show, and it shouldn't be the most hated.
It's not the worst show, but damn it, is that not Ironheart? I'll.
So here's the thing. I think he's going to a gatekeeper speech like I do, like what you know and what you know in the comics or whatever. I think the only thing that I give them grace on is they set her up already in Black Panther, and they brought the same vibe to here. The only thing they don't like is she's thieving, she's doing this. It's like she's all blackmailed into this. She's pushed against in a corner for this. So I don't mind the character doing something out of the ordinary. But I actually enjoyed Ironheart. A lot of people will think I'm crazy. This is not official either. Marvel has not removed Ironheart. They may ignore these, but they have not removed them. I've looked up everywhere about it. There is nothing about removing them. And I've looked a lot of things that I forgot too, that still connect with other things that kind of mislead things and, you know, mess up things. So far as this goes, Ironheart is still involved. I don't know. They keep bringing up, I think, Secret Wars are coming in at Doomsday.
Die on that hill. That is not Ironheart.
Like,
But
Ironheart is not some criminal, selfish,
Killer.
murderer,
but removing it is crazy
thief.
because
So here's
she's
my thing.
in the movies.
Here's my thing.
So the thing is with that, this whole speech about how what she is, that's not her character in the movie or the TV show. It's not her character at all. Her character was not like that. Her character was forced to do these things. That's kind of what made it more interesting. This person that's a good person had to do things that she didn't want to do. And it sucked because she was getting blackmailed basically. And I don't think that ruins her character at all. The one that we saw from Black Panther. It was just the same character, but just pushed against a wall.
And
That's not Ironheart, and I don't care.
I wonder if they're going to retcon this since they're going to remove it from Disney+. So that means it don't exist.
But She-Hulk's still in there.
Yeah, well, they've already said they're canceling that second season.
But the same Riri is in not What If, Zombies.
Marvel Zombies.
Yeah, Marvel.
I don't. Yeah, Riri is in that. That's right. Her and Kamala and Cassie. No, Kate Bishop. They link up together, I believe. Thing is, it's not been removed. Now, did the channel maybe remove it? I haven't seen that, but I'll probably look tonight, search it, and see if you can watch it. There's a million shows that never get brought up and watched again. That are good shows too. I mean, Loki. It's a great show, but I don't see it ever advertised or when you click down to the the Marvel link, and it pops up first, you know? So I don't know. Is it not there? Maybe not, but they're saying it's getting removed from the stories, and they're saying, how does that happen when she's part of the world? And my biggest thing is not ruining, but changing the villain.
Zombies.
And she's gonna be in Avengers Doomsday.
Pack
Yeah,
them all
but
up.
that's
But
what I'm
granted,
saying.
zombies were shot years ago.
I'm wondering if
But so
the
was
Riri
Ironheart.
in Doomsday is going to be the Riri that we've been asking for, since they're going to retcon this.
I don't think you should retcon it.
And
I don't think you should.
And that's why that multiverse stuff is annoying to me.
Multiverse is very annoying, but it's also a thing that helps them fix things. Unfortunately, that's what it gave them loopholes. They could say the X-Men universe exists, Old Man Logan exists, not in the same time period, but kinda, or not in the same time period, and then it kind of exists within the MCU just because it's a different multiverse. They open up all these portals, starting with, I don't know, it wasn't Doctor Strange. Deadpool covered it, TVA covered it with Loki, Spider-Man No Way From Home, but there was something else that gave us the idea that there's a multiverse out there. I don't know why, it's just on the tip of my tongue, but all these things could be considered different things. And it's just hard when they put the same actors in different spots. For example, Phil Coulson is in the Avengers, and he's in all the way up to the Avengers. They did those little mini shots where I think they wrote out those mini shots. They're not gone. They just don't mention them. Where he sits with Sitwell, and I believe it doesn't make sense that him and Sitwell are homies at that time. I don't think he's outed by Hydra at that time, but still. They do all this. He's in Captain Marvel. He has a big part of Captain Marvel, but then all of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. basically gets ignored besides like the first 2 seasons, what happened. The first season for sure tags onto the Avengers. It brings Coulson back. It has Nick Fury in it. Maria Hill becomes in it. All that happens. But then they go further and a lot of things change. And there'll be something else I mentioned that is really weird that happens. But again, are we supposed to think it's not canon? You already introduced it as canon, part of the storylines. So let's go back to Ironheart for a second, because I could go off on the other shows. But Ironheart, again, I don't want to make this a whole debate thing. I liked Ironheart. I thought it was cool. There's 2 characters that are newerish to people, and I love them. Sentry and the Hood. They go high on my list as villain and superhero. Very, very, very high compared to a lot of people that they don't know why I love them so much. Like, why do you have a Sentry tattoo? I love the Sentry. I don't do villains, but I would put the Hood. I love the Hood story. Great miniseries. It's a small story. Then they moved him to New Avengers. They kind of downed him a little once he got to another Avenger. He worked good in the Secret Invasion Civil War storyline, where he resurrected a bunch of dead villains and made them work for him. That was pretty cool. But again, back to the show. I thought he was okay. He was pretty good. The actor's a good actor, but I didn't like him as Robbie. I just didn't feel it, but they did do the whole criminal underworld. I rather them did some D-list villains as his helpers. I know they mentioned a couple of them are like nods to some villains, but I'd rather them use actual villains in the DC in the Marvel universe that just never will ever get used. And I did that with the Superior Foes idea of a movie, just using dumb people like Melter and Tumblr, whatever, people that just will never be used. You might as well just use them. But yeah, so I like the show. We finally got magic against science. That was awesome. I'm glad that we finally got there. We were supposed to get that with Mandarin against Iron Man, and people were mad that we didn't get to see it. You get to see it in this show, and it's pretty cool. Very cool effects. And again, just the Hood is a thing that he was possessed by Dormammu. The Hood was possessed by Dormammu in the comics. I knew they weren't going to do that in here, and they don't really say what's possessing it. It's made a deal with Mephisto. When we finally get Mephisto, we get Mephisto after all this time. Everybody speculated Mephisto and this, Mephisto and that. We got Mephisto and Ironheart. Be happy. And it's Sacha Baron Cohen, who looks great as Mephisto. When they show him in the red, kind of in the reflection, he looks great. I hope to God they don't count that out and not bring him ever back as Mephisto. I love him as Mephisto. He was really cool. I liked his vibe. I don't know if it seems like he put a demon in or made it possessed in the Hood. I don't know. I don't think he's in the Hood, like inside of it. I think he has something, whatever. He makes deals with people with the Hood. But other than that, I was fine with it. And do I think it needs to be erased? No. There's nothing in there that really happened that could affect storylines unless they bring her back in the future and we have to talk about her past. And this would be in her past. If they ever want to use the Hood again, which I highly recommend bringing the Hood in and lower. I mean, he probably can't mess with Avengers, even though he does. He gets power gems and beats the hell out of them. But they probably won't do that in the movies. He would be like a lower level Spider-Man-ish kind of area. So I definitely would love to see the Hood again. But we're not going to go there. So the big thing is nothing's getting dropped. Nothing's getting dropped at all. But the hard thing is a lot of things overlap. So a lot of things are overlapping. So we go to Agents of Shield. Agents of Shield deals with a lot of different things. We get Deathlock in Agents of Shields. We get I think it's Orby Man in Agents of Shields. Agents of Shield. I keep saying it all weird. Trying to think who else, but they get a decent group. But the biggest thing we got, at least for me as a fan, and popular IP, is Ghost Rider. Ghost Rider was in it. It was Robbie Reyes, though. They went with a different route. I thought that was awesome. Robbie Reyes is a cool story. We have many Ghost Riders in the world, but Robbie Reyes was the big new thing for the newest relaunch of Marvel when they started doing new things. Miss Marvel came out, and when Spider-Gwen became a thing. I think all around that era time is when things like that shook up. And he drove a possessed car, which was sick. He's kind of like the ghost passenger. I don't know if that's a rider when you're driving, or I don't know. Regardless, we got a Ghost Rider. They had connections with the Ghost Rider. There is a scene where it shows the original Ghost Rider saving him from the wreckage. And then they do name drop Johnny Blaze as the person that he gives the Darkhold to. So it's pretty nuts. And I was looking, we know, of course, Doctor Strange, different timeline Doctor Strange, Scarlet, Agna Harkness, get it. But also there's a bunch of like low level people that got it that you would never know if I told you. And Nico from Runaways got a hold of it, and her mom, Tina, got a hold of it, and Morgan Le Fay, which is a huge Avengers villain, got a hold of it. And I think Morgan Le Fay, oh yeah, she's in Runaways. So all of them touched the Darkhold and dealt with it. Now, how does that affect the Darkhold now? It really depowers it compared to what it does now, what in Multiverse of Madness, what it does. But they're not removing these things. They're just kind of ignoring them. And Kevin Feige even said they did use Tina Minora. I always forget her name. When I say Nico Minori. But Tina, the mom, she played a huge part in Runaways. Kind of like one of the bigger villains. They use her in Doctor Strange, but he left her nameless for that reason because he didn't want there to be confusion. She is in a part of Doctor Strange. You do see an Asian woman holding up, I forgot what it is. I think it's when they're all protecting different areas, and that's where I believe Brother Voodoo's brother Jericho is one of the men protecting the sanctum, the sorcerer places when that part happens in the movie. So that all connects to a weird way to the Darkhold, but then the Darkhold also shows up. So we had it in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., totally different story. We had it in Runaways, and then we get it in Agatha, then we get it in Multiverse of Madness. So these all connect somehow, and we're not letting them connect. Now, they don't really address Runaways. I love Runaways. Runaways is one of my favorite comics. Such a good story. But it's hard because Wiccan is in not the Runaways, right? He's New Avengers. Anyways, in the Runaways, he's not. I'm just trying to think who is in it that could be Magic, and I don't think there's anyone with Magic besides Nico. So I love the Runaways. Would love to see him again. They just don't acknowledge them, and think it'd be too hard to squeeze them in. So they just might be part of the MCU, and they're on the West Coast. Maybe they get involved in the New York things and stuff like that. They could just be doing their own thing. They could be part of the MCU. It's just they never get called upon and kind of stand their ground. That's one thing. We have Cloak and Dagger. Cloak and Dagger, again, I would like to see them in an MCU movie. I love Cloak and Dagger. They're great characters. They frequent with Spider-Man a lot. First appearance was in Spectacular Spider-Man. We kind of have them pushed to the side because there's Marvel Studios television and there's like Marvel TV something. I don't know. I know Jeff Loeb ran the Marvel one, and he had to work under Feige, and they did bump heads a lot, and that's why Feige did leave Tina Minoru's role unnamed for the fact that he didn't want to step on feet and mess up that kind of story. So clearly he knows there's another story out there and he doesn't want to mess with it. So with that being said, a lot of things cross over and they timey-wimey these funky things. But yeah, so we have all these other things. We have Agent Carter that they don't really acknowledge. Everyone says when they start a lot of these, like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Agent Carter, they do kind of acknowledge it, but then they let it go. Then it goes away. I didn't get that much into Agent Carter. But I don't get how it cannot connect. The only thing that's weird is there is a Jarvis, but I guess that could have been Steve's, reason why he named his machine VRI. I don't know what you call it, Jarvis. And so we have that, and nothing's been done really with that. It's a timepiece. You don't really need to have any connection really with Agent Carter, so I don't get why that's brought into the conversation. There is some other things with like Daredevil's crossing over, being in a Spider-Man movie, the time lapse. Where did this fall? Did the Netflix show connect to Born Again? I technically believe it does. I don't see a beat where it's missed. It seems like a exact continuation. I see them as a whole. I don't see it as... The only thing people could say is, oh, the acting was better in this one, or the direction was better, and this was from different... Whatever. I don't care. They seem to me connected. They seem like connected. I'm not worried about the universe or anything like that. But again, they do have issues with, like... Spider-Man, him going into Spider-Man, what does that mean? Is there Kingpin in New York still? Are we just ignoring him with Spider-Man now that he's at ground level? There's just so many things that cross over. There's things that people are just like, what's going on? Why aren't this being said? Why aren't these being done? Why is this ignored? Why aren't we touching these characters? And it brings me to like She-Hulk and Ironheart. It brings me to those two because they're brought up in this, and this is what opened up the whole can of worms of me thinking about all these things and trying to figure out where does everything go? Where does everything connect? And what things that we have that have loose strings? There was like Damian Hellstorm. He got his own movie or show, has no connection to the MCU at all. There's nothing that happens in it, to my knowledge, that says MCU. Now, should that be a problem? Yes. Hellstorm is a huge part of the dark mystical world. He should be involved with Doctor Strange at some point. Will they ever have that actor be in it? I doubt it. So would they ignore that? I think they would. But will they remove it? I don't know. It's not on streaming series or anything like that. Just like how Legion kind of messed with X-Men a little bit, but Legion's a whole nother story. We're not talking about the X-Men universe. But so we had Hellstorm, and I think Damian Hellstorm is a great character. One of my favorite things is really dumb. It's what is it they called? It's Red Hulk, X-23, Circle of Four storyline. They're in Las Vegas fighting Blackheart, and Doctor Strange and Damian Hellstorm have to make like this portal or this bubble to make like so no one could get out or no one could get in. Basically, they're trying to keep people safe, and through the whole thing, they keep flashing back to them, and they're having like conversations while they're sitting there just holding this thing through this 4 arc comic. It's really good. Circle of Four is really, really good. But again, we got things like I said, Wonder Man. How much is that connected to the Avengers universe? It doesn't feel like much, but we have Trevor in it, and Trevor connects to Iron Man. It connects to Shang-Chi, and he crosses over and all these things. Wonder Man is definitely in this universe. 100% he's in this universe. There's no ifs, ands, or buts that he's in this universe. Now, will we get to eventually see him part of the universe? I don't know. I would love to see Wonder Man on Avengers team, but it feels like every time we get these superheroes together, they have to be this huge, big moment, because that's what happens. It costs a lot of money, so it has to be a big, huge moment. I like the fact Spider-Man has slipped people in, like Hulk and Punisher. That's how a Spider-Man comic is, and that's fun. A lot of people are like, oh, let him sit on his 2 feet. Maybe, sometimes, but right now, I don't mind it. I don't. Homecoming didn't really get a cameo. Oh, you got Iron Man. I guess you can't say that then, right? 2 had Nick Fury, and 3 had everybody. So I guess to an extent, it's definitely interesting. But all these going by, you think, okay, they dropped him. Now, is it they dropped him? Do they ignore him, or do they erase it? If you look at the timelines where they add everything up, are they erased? So I don't know. How to put it. I know they're not like ones like from their Netflix series. They're not dropped for sure because they're all made in the MCU. She-Hulk, Ironheart are made in the MCU. They're not dropped. They haven't been dropped. They never announced to get dropped. They're not dropped. Regardless of the viewership, how much people hate them, they're not dropped at all. But then we have things like you know, Runaways, Agents of Shield, which technically shouldn't be dropped. It should be part of the MCU. It's Agent Coulson, who was made up for the MCU, and we got him now. And now you're gonna tell me that all that stuff didn't exist? And they basically made Mockingbird part of one of the or I think they used her name. They used her in I think the later episodes of Shield, and then we basically got Mockingbird in Hawkeye, and it was his wife. You find out her agent number. I forgot her agent number, and that's Mockingbird's call sign. So we basically got Mockingbird in the MCU, and then we got it kind of in the side MCU. I don't know. They don't really give out the names. It's more hinted to, so we could take it either other way. The other thing was Inhumans. Inhumans was horrible. We only got one episode, and it was not good. Sadly, Inhumans is a really cool superhero team, but I think it's almost too big. It's like Eternals. It's really big. You got to put a lot of time and effort connecting it, and I wouldn't have done them overnight. I would have had them guest spot like Thanos and other things leading up to their movies, because it's just a lot of overwhelming things, a lot. But we got that Black Bolt back. That Black Bolt, he's in the MCU movie. Granted, it's a different universe, but it's still in the MCU movies, I should say. Does that mean Inhumans actually happened? Not technically in the 616, because they're calling 616 now. Technically not in the 616, but it did happen somewhere, because we got Black Bolt. And just like how we have a Mr. Fantastic, that's John Krasinski, that Fantastic Four exists somewhere. It's just the way it is. But they definitely are hooking these ties, and they're using this multiverse as a way to somehow get them out of holes. And I understand that. But what sucks is some of these are decent, and the ones that people are talking about here to drop, I think there's no reason to really drop them. Just let them be. If you ever want to bring them back, you can bring them back. But there are small connections to these that can kind of mess with the tampering of the storylines. And I thought right now, what's the bad guy in Iron Man 1? His son is an Ironheart, and that was a great introduction to him. I forgot his name. I always do this every time. He is definitely like underrated in the comics, and he was definitely underrated in the show. I think he did a great job. It was really cool. Now, I don't want to see anything taken away. I figure it's your guys' fault. You said it there. Can you try to connect Runaways in it? Yeah, I don't think it'd mess up too much. It'd mess up the Darkhold story. Cloak and Dagger, yeah, you could probably do it. It's just going to be weird to have them. Those actor and actress, they maybe would recast them. I don't know. Because we need a Cloak and Dagger eventually. I'm sorry. Cloak and Dagger is awesome. Them appear in a Spider-Man movie or something like that would be great. I hate them saying so much. But one of the biggest issue out of everything is Secret Invasion. Secret Invasion is probably the biggest issue out of everything. Secret Invasion, number one, the comic is so fun. So fun. With Captain Marvel giving us scrolls, I was like, oh, they're making a show? This is going to be a great show. I got probably 2 episodes in, and I was like, I can't do this. They killed Maria Hill, which ruined a lot of future stories with him. I liked having, Nick Fury having a little side right-hand man, woman. They didn't do the scrolls right. I did catch parts with, the main villain. I couldn't even tell you her name. Khaleesi, basically. Made her basically like a super scroll in a way. They ruined a lot of that story. That one, I think they want everyone's eyes to be covered and never think of again. They want to make sure Nick Fury never went through that. They want to make sure we forgot all about that. Because it would change a lot of story about this. This all happened within our 616, and all these other heroes never dealt with it. They never dealt with the scroll issue and stuff like that. With Captain Marvel leaving it open, it wasn't like it was a problem, and this one made it a problem. And it's weird that we never got even to what the comic kind of did. They could have leaked that into a great Marvel Avengers movie, I should say. Like Secret Invasion, where some people we learn are not who they are. And that leads me to War Machine, Rhodey, was revealed to be a Skrull in Secret Invasion. So him being lead to be a Skrull in Secret Invasion, people were trying to guess the timelines, and basically I think it's before Civil War, if I'm right. But the one that gets injured is the Skrull. So this leads you to say, where's the real Rhodey at? Where is he at? What is he doing? Is he dead? I mean, it makes no sense. And on top of that, this Skrull one now is hurt, and he's gone through everything. Endgame, he's been dusted. I mean, oh wait, no, he didn't get dusted. He was alive still. He's been in Endgame. He's been in Infinity War. Huge parts, and it was a Skrull the whole time going through these like character developing stories. Even him and Nebula having a little bit of screen time, dealing with how they're different and stuff. Like, was he talking about him being a Skrull? I don't think they did. I don't think they meant that. I don't think they meant to do that. So I think with all the plans they did have, it's a lot of it's their own fault. I blame it on the MCU. Kevin Feige and all them. Them for not lining things up. They line up the movies perfectly to plant seeds here and there and there. And when they go trying to make money on these offshoots, they need to somehow connect it to the MCU. So they think about why we're making it and how does it work. And again, with She-Hulk, they connected Hulk into it. So it was part of MCU. They did Abomination and Wong in it because it was connected to the MCU. So they kind of did their job with it. They're not going to forget about She-Hulk. They're not going to cancel She-Hulk. They're never going to take it away from us and be like, that's not part of the MCU. They made it personally a way for them to be connected to it. Things like the Runaways, Cloak and Dagger, Hellstorm, they can go off and say we never made those because they weren't under the MCU banner. But, and this is bad because that's Disney MCU for Ironheart and She-Hulk. But you still can use them in ways, and the only problem is, like I said, with the Runaways is it connects to the Darkhold. And they showed it being a threat, but not the threat the multiverse showed it at. And then we have Robbie Reyes and the storyline of S.H.I.E.L.D. They deal with the Darkhold, and Ghost Rider takes it at the end, and he goes and puts it into a safe place, and supposedly it's Johnny Blaze. So that's another thing that connects. Do we have a Johnny Blaze out there? We know we do, because Ghost Rider saves him. It has to be Johnny Blaze or Danny Ketch that saves Robbie Reyes from the wreckage when he becomes the Ghost Rider. There is a lot that twists into it that, okay, let's say they don't exist, but too many things are connecting already to it. So those are ones I think they would rather wipe away. But then it's in the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. that deals with Coulson, who came from all the movies leading up to the Avengers. And they brought him back connecting to the Avengers and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. All that connected to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., all that connected from the end of Avengers. So you're telling me a show that did all of that, then brings us Ghost Rider, who should be in the MCU, but this was Marvel Television at the time, mess with the Darkhold, in the world that Coulson lived in the world Coulson was an Avenger movie, in the world he first met Iron Man when Iron Man was in #1. In the show he was in, we got Ghost Rider and the Darkhold. I don't know. Those are the ones I think people want to forget, but how you do that when S.H.I.E.L.D's connected so hard? It's really hard. Like, you can't. Even down the line, it got really crazy how they changed a lot. And then I think they made Madame Mask in it. I kind of fell off near the end of S.H.I.E.L.D., but Madame Mask is a great villain that I could see them leading into like some other Captain America area Avenger getting in their own movie as a villain. But I believe they used even her. And it's like they're using these people. And even She-Hulk kind of used the Wrecking Crew, I believe. I don't think they named them, though. That's the only problem. I don't think they named them. But they resemble them heavily. But again, does that mean they can't use them anymore? You know, it's like so many of these characters, like, I worry about, like, Fantastic Four using Red Ghost already, using Mole Man already. Are we taking away from them being a good character in the future? Like, a villain for someone else? Or even them? Like, Fantastic Four has Galactus, and all you got to do is go up now. You can't go below Galactus for a movie now. That's why I don't think Fantastic Four is going to be around for that many movies. They'll be probably in parts of other movies, but any of their movies are going to be a big thing. Something big's going on. It's not going to be just dealing with, you know, a villain of the week. And that's kind of going to be hard, I think, because you always have to up the scale or up the stakes. So yeah, so all these are just weird. Like I said, if you're talking about the Darkhold, connects to Runaways, and it's just weird because Damian Hellstorm deals with the whole mystic world. Even even in the comics it connects them, but I could get trying to break away a little bit from the comics because they do their own things in the MCU TV or Marvel TV series or studios, and the MCU they do break away and do their own stories and do what they want to do. But as far as the shows go, I think Disney Plus and Netflix are all connected still, no matter what. The only one that raises me eyebrows is Shield a lot because it deals so much with Coulson. That's one of the bigger things, and it sucks we got Deathlock too. I'd rather better Deathlock, not actor, just better look. I love Deathlock; he's a cool character. But yeah, so that's all I'm saying is people want these to get canceled. People don't like them. I'm not saying these guys want it canceled or don't like them, but in the world we live in, people hated them. I thought they were fine. I liked Ironheart a little bit better than She-Hulk. She-Hulk is more just not high stakes for me. It's goofy. I'm fine with it. It's like diet Deadpool. And I love Tatiana. I think she's a great actress. I like the cast a lot. I love seeing Daredevil in a yellow costume. For what reason? I don't care. He was in the yellow costume. But Ironheart I really, really liked. It was decent. It was entertaining to me. I wouldn't mind watching it again. The cast was a group of young upcoming actors. I think they did a really good job. They used a lot of things from the comics and they mixed them up together, and I think it worked well for a story. We're not banking on this to make $1 million movie here. It's just a decent story mixing with couple, like 3 or 4 different characters that you wouldn't see together. The Hood, Ironheart, Ironmonger's son, I don't know, Mephisto. We got a lot of cool characters put in that movie or TV show, and it worked. But overall, I don't know. All I know is these aren't gone; they're not removed. We know let all the Netflix continue somehow. Jessica Jones has already been in Daredevil. We've had Punisher and Daredevil. It seems like the same ones from the Netflix one. We're gonna have Luke Cage return, Iron Fist return. Does Iron Fist not have the power anymore? Is it still in what's her name? I forgot. Are they going to connect that or explain that? We'll see. Are they going to talk about Luke Cage taking over the club? We'll see. How much they connect it to the Netflix shows. They did it decent with Jessica. It seems like she just lived a lower profile and had a kid and lived a life. There are ways to go about it. There are ways to do it, but it looks like all the Netflix ones are connected. And they probably don't want some MCU Disney shows not to be. But the biggest one I think is Secret Invasion. That's the only one that I think we should ignore or not care about, is because War Machine Rhodey is a Skrull in that. And the fact that Skrull has gone basically, I think, Civil War and up and have emotional connections with people, and it was a Skrull the whole time, and then leads you to believe where's the real Rhodey at. So I think that's one that they're going to definitely leave not touched, never talk about it again. I love Captain Marvel. People don't. But my biggest thing is Nick Fury lost his eye to a cat. That's something I wish they never touched on in Captain Marvel if you're going to make it a cat. I love Goose. I love the Captain Marvel comics with him. I forgot his name's different in that, though. But, oh, no. I'm on a go right here. This is what happens when you do it live. I love that. But for him to lose his eye to the cat, someone he trusted really well, it just was a dumb ploy. It was stupid. And I'll defend Captain Marvel about a lot of things, but I'll tell you that was stupid. They should have had it be more meaningful how he lost his eye. But again, all that being said, we got Inhumans connected to multiverse, but it's okay because they're not in the same universe. It's just all crazy tied up. But are there things that they want us to forget? Sure. Are there things that they wish they can forget? Sure. Is there things that were made on the outside that they wish they could have combined or left some stuff out? Yeah. We saw that with Runaways. They didn't use the name of Nico's mom as a character. She was nameless because of the fact he didn't want to step on Jeff Loeb's shoes, feet, and mess up anything with the Runaways. So Runaways was done years ago before that came out with Doctor Strange. And it didn't matter because Kevin Feige still saw a part as the Marvel Universe. So does that mean it's canon? I don't know. He didn't want to step on the shoes, but then uses the Darkhold later, and Nico and them had the Darkhold. So the Darkhold seemed like a threat in Runaways, but Darkhold seemed like a threat in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. So we will never know actually what their plans are. I think the thing is they're never going to announce to ignore anything. They're never going to announce this wasn't a part of it. If anything, they might say multiverse. And that's the bad thing about multiverse. It's a way to get, it's an scapegoat now. Multiverse is a scapegoat to get out of things. And that sucks because they can't own up for things. Now it could just be like, nope, this is connected over here because that wasn't here. But then like things will come in those shows that came from our world that you can't really hide. Again, Coulson is the biggest thing. Came from the Avengers world. You can't say it's multiverse because Nick Fury's been in it and they work under Avengers storyline. And it deals with Robbie Reyes, the Darkhold, Deathlock. All this is in the MCU. Under their, it wasn't filmed under Netflix or Disney, but it's still connected. All their stories did. Somehow you have to relate those back to Marvel. And if Marvel tries to ignore that, if Kevin Feige tries to ignore that, use any of that, that's bad. The Darkhold being in it and using it in Doctor Strange, that's bad. That's not good. There should be some explanation. Because there are diehard people that watch all the S.H.I.E.L.D. and then they go, wait a minute, that's back in here. There's no way to get around that. Other things you can say, ignore. You can't ignore the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. stuff. You can't. You really can't. And that's the hard part. That's really the hard part. So, I don't know. When it comes down to it, is anything gone? Are these true about things getting removed? I don't believe so. You could check on Disney Plus, whatever, if they're gone. I don't think they're gone. But are Marvel announcing that they're gone? No. These are all rumors. Are they saying these are not part of the MCU, Marvel Universe? No. They never have said that with anything. Up to Runaways, Cloak and Dagger, Damien Hellstorm. Hope I'm not missing any of the TV shows that were around that era, but none of those were ever said no, that they're not going to be part of it. Will they ignore that? Sure, they might ignore it, but they've never, ever, ever gone on the record and said these aren't. It'd be nice if they did so we understood it better. But I think they just rather leave it be. Because I think they're like, we're never going to touch Runaways again. And that sucks, because I would like to see the Runaways in another story, but I think their story was told, so I get it. Damien Hellstorm, on the other hand, he needs to be in Doctor Strange's world. Same with Brother Voodoo. So we need to see these guys. They need to eventually come around. We have a long, long way of Marvel ahead of us. But yeah, so those ones, I think they just let it be. But we will have issues once they bring them to the MCU. And they'll have to cut out and say, oh, it's a multiverse. It was a different timeline. Something like that. And that's what sucks. But again, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is one of the biggest loophole, or the biggest plot holes out of all of them. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is the biggest plot hole. It doesn't do well covering it up. There's too many characters involved that they created in it. I could probably go down a list and look at it, but I didn't. But I know off the top of my head, of course, Deathlock was in it. I believe Absorbing Man was in it. Madam Mask, I believe, was in it. Madam Hydra might have been in it. It's either Madam Mask or Madam Hydra. Like I said, Deathlock. We got Robbie Reyes, Ghost Rider, connected to Johnny Blaze, who's mentioned, who has the Darkhold now. The Darkhold was mentioned. All that connects to Coulson, who connects very big into the building of the making of the MCU, Marvel Universe, and to the Avengers. So they're all connected. That's just how it is. How they're going to get around that someday? Don't know. Coulson even came back from Captain Marvel. Are they going to use him again? I doubt it. I probably have no plans for it, but who knows? I mean, I don't think I watched up to the ending of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., so Coulson could have died for all I know. But my thing is, it doesn't erase from what did happen. They were they weren't in a different timeline. They weren't somewhere crazy. We're in a different dimension. It wasn't like that. It was part of the story. They were in the MCU universe. So, that all being said, thank you guys for listening to my TED project. Ironheart and She-Hulk are not ignored, and they're not discontinued from the MCU TV series. They're still a part of it. They still play parts. Will we see them in Doomsday? No. Ironheart, they keep talking about it. She's not going to be in Doomsday. We have way too many characters already. Bigger names, bigger characters. Could she made it in Secret Wars while big characters are away? Possibly. Maybe. I doubt it, though. She-Hulk would be great to see out of as an Avenger, but I don't think they want to touch it. We have too many Avengers already. a lot of actors to pay, but not to mention in this one we have a lot of X-Men to pay and Fantastic Four to pay. So we will not be seeing them as well. I would probably put money on not seeing Ironheart or She-Hulk in the upcoming 2 Avenger movies. But that's it. That's what I had to debunk a little bit. Good source for them to for me to start at. I appreciate Entertainment District for bringing up these points, letting me piggyback off them and talk about it. But check them out. Like I said, they have a lot of anime stuff. Really check out if you like anime. Tons of anime stuff. And they have a great poster of Kobe wearing the gauntlet in the background. I've seen that poster before. Amazing. I love that poster. I'm a big Kobe Bryant fan. I probably lost people, even if they did watch this, because a lot of people don't like Lakers. But I love Kobe Bryant. You got to respect Kobe Bryant. I'm sorry. But yeah, so that's it. We're going to turn on OBS because we're done and we don't edit. And I will see you guys later. Bye.